A lot of you thought this was the gay bar in Jamestown, but I told you there's a bunch of clowns in here, and look, they got clown shoes on the window, the boarded up particle board window. And we have but I do know that when you see the rainbow colored awning, it would be easy to mistake. It would be easy to make that mistake. So, all right, everybody. So I'm doing it a little bit different today. One of the things that I like to do, especially lately, is when I have to walk from point A to B here in Jamestown, instead of taking the main roads and the straightest path to get somewhere, I try to find a more peaceful route to take. And today I have to go out to this one neighborhood to do a couple of things. And so I went out of my way to do this, but I'm taking back streets, I'm taking side streets, and I'm just trying to avoid the noise and the hassle of the main roads and all the traffic. And so one of the things that I discovered a few weeks ago is this little parklet, and it has a nice little path, and it's not very long, but it's a nice quiet place to just sit and chill for a few minutes. And since I am here to talk to you guys today, I thought I'd show you the place. And what's going on here? Someone's coming back there's a gate at the opposite end. Oh, someone's coming back with a golf cart. So yeah, you're not going to be totally alone back here, but at the same time, it's not a bad place to sit and chill for a few minutes. And I've got some time to wait before I have to get where I'm going. And so this will be a good spot to sit and talk to you guys. All right, so what's up, everybody? It's #homeless. It's day 74, and here I am chilling in this little park, taking a break to talk to you guys before I get to where I have to go today. I am covered in sweat. It's a little bit hot today. It's actually hotter here. I have an app on my laptop that shows me the temperature here in Jamestown, Pittsburgh, and Houston, Texas, because I don't know where I'm going to be in the next month. So I was looking at it yesterday. It's hotter here in Jamestown and Pittsburgh, this area, than it is down in Texas, at least for a day or two. And Jamestown is almost always 10 degrees colder than Pittsburgh, and that was no exception when I checked it out this week. But it's a little bit hot, and one of the things I have to do today is go open a bank account because I need proof of address. I need things that have the homeless shelter address as my legitimate mailing address so that I can appease Google and not get my channel demonetized for not providing proof of identity and proof of address. And right now my driver's license does not show the same address that's on that Google account. And on top of that, when you provide all this documentation, Google will send me a PIN number through the mail that I have to log back in with to show that I got the mail that they sent me. And so this whole thing is a mess. I could be out of the homeless shelter by the time the thing comes in the mail, and then I don't eat. One day at a time. That's basically what I'm getting at. It's just another hassle that wouldn't be a hassle other than the fact that when you're homeless, everything is a major hassle. Things that would never be a hassle in your life become an ordeal. And so this is no exception. So when I left the homeless shelter this morning, I had to wait until somebody got there, one of the people who runs the place, because he's going to call the bank and let them know that it's okay to use that address when I sign up for an account today. And he knows a couple of people there personally. And so that's why he wouldn't just give me a printout or something that says this is my address. But by the time I get this bank account and I get some papers printed out and maybe get them to print a statement of the opening balance or whatever they do, then I'll have something that has an address on it. I can go to the DMV and change my address on my driver's license, and they'll probably print something out there. So I'll have a couple of things that I can hand over to Google, YouTube, and that should at least take care of the issue until they send the thing in the mail. But they're saying that it could take 45 days for the thing to come in the mail. So I may have to change my address again. And so this might just be a 3-month shit show with Google trying to verify my identity and my address. I hope it's not, but it could be. It could be a huge hassle, and I could end up getting demonetized before I ever get paid. So I don't know. It's just another, I'm done talking about it. But I went down to the basement where they have these storage lockers, and out of my rucksack, I pulled out a bag of coins that I had. When I left my ex's apartment, there was a jar full of coins that I had sitting there. And there was probably $60 worth of coins, maybe more. And this bag of coins weighs like at least 10 pounds, if not more. And so my bag right now is heavy. It's a heavy bag to carry up this hill where I'm going. And there's one of those Coinstar machines at the grocery store across the street from the bank. And so I'm going to go dump this bag of coins out, get me some cash money in my hand, and then I'm going to go put some of the money in the bank into a bank account so that I can get a proof of address. And then I'm just going to go from there. And I'm getting covered in flies. The insects are driving me crazy right now. So if you see me going a little bit nuts, that's why. So yeah, everything's just weird. The homeless shelter, when they get word that you might have a pocket full of money, they want a cut of that. And so like I was getting some weird, it's a weird vibe. And so I don't know. You got to be really guarded. Even the people that say they're there to help you, you've got to, every day it's the same thing. When you come into the shelter, or if you're there when the people that run the place show up, they're going to hound you. That's why one of the reasons I get out of there every morning as soon as I possibly can is because I don't want to get hounded every single day, to have to get into a 10-minute conversation about everything I did to look for a job today and get hounded about this and hounded about that. And it's like, if you want proof that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I will provide you with ample proof, but I don't need to be hounded like I'm a 2-year-old kid who didn't clean his room or didn't do what I was told, or whatever the case may be. And it grinds me every day. It just sucks. And I'm not even saying, like, these people, it's not like they're doing it. These people, they actually care about people. So it's not like it's not that kind of a situation, but I'm more than 10 weeks into being homeless now and dealing with this situation. So do you think I want to sit and talk about it every single day and have the same conversation day after day after day after day? No. I do that with you guys on YouTube, and I don't do the same conversation every day with you guys. So, but it's just, what the hell is going on? You literally cannot go anywhere in Jamestown without dealing with a bunch of obnoxious noise. You can't. Not even in the middle of this wooded area. You can't do it. I cannot get out of this place fast enough. You saw the walking tour yesterday. You saw what was going on in this town. It's a horrible place to be. It's a horrible place to be, and I just want to get out of here as fast as humanly possible. So anyway, yeah, talking about people riding you and people being up your ass every single day of your life when you're going through this. It's bad enough to be going through it. I don't need someone climbing up my ass every day to rub it in and make it worse. So, I talked about the social services being up my ass, about spending 20 hours a week on a job search. And, they claim that they'll call and verify your information. They claim that they will call the places that you're interviewing at, and oh yeah, that's going to make it that, that's going to be really good for your reputation to the people that you're interviewing with, getting calls from the social worker asking, did this person lie to me? But I don't know if they actually do or not, but they say they could. But I'm just making sure that it takes a long time to apply to every job now. And that's what I need to do to keep them off my back. And think about this, if I can apply to 16 jobs in a single hour, which I did last week. In fact, it was 21 jobs in the span of an hour. Why should I get treated like garbage compared to someone who takes 3 hours to fill out a single job application who's computer illiterate? I tried helping a guy a couple of weeks ago fill out a job application, and he couldn't even make it through the set up an account part of the application process, and that was 3 hours, and he couldn't even get past the first step. So social services wants to punish me for being efficient? No, I'm not having it. So I'll do what the typical hourly wage earners do, and I'll just drag my ass. There's a graphic designer whose videos I watch sometime on YouTube, and he gets into an argument with someone in an audience who said the guy was only worth $50 an hour, and why would anyone pay him $200 an hour for his work? And the designer said, because I'm good at what I do and I work quickly. And so the audience member got into it with him, and the designer said, okay, so you would rather pay less per hour for someone to do inferior work because you have this mentality that the work not being because you have this mentality of the work not being worth a certain amount of money per hour. So what if I just charge you the same amount I was going to charge you anyway and make it take 10 times longer? Will that be okay with you? And they argued some more, and the designer said, okay, so what you're saying to me is that I deserve to be punished because I have 20 or more years of experience doing this, and I've gotten good enough that I can do the job quickly? And I'll try and find the video, and I'll post it in the notes in the description here and below the video if you want to watch it. But he has a few videos like this. And another video, a woman asks him how much he charges for a logo. And he said between $5,000 and $10,000. And she said, that's ridiculous. And so he turns around and he asks her, so what kind of car do you drive? And she says, I drive a BMW. And so he goes into this thing about how great BMW is, precision engineering, and you get what you pay for, et cetera, et cetera. And then he tells her, so you spent $65,000 to $75,000 to get the best quality vehicle. And she agreed. And so he says to her, well, don't you believe in having the same level of consistency across your whole life? And she looks at him and she says, well, I guess when you put it that way, but I only have $1,500 in my budget. And he says, okay, well, there's the door. Bye. And so this guy he's a bit arrogant, but he's 100% right. And I've been through this before myself. I don't come at people with the same arrogance that this guy had, but I've had the same conversations. You go to these websites now like Fiverr and Upwork and some of these other websites where, people are just trying to be the lowest bidder for a logo job, and they end up doing a logo for somebody for $20. And I'm not doing that. It's not worth my time to spend, 40 hours on someone's project to get $20. I mean, I could go work at McDonald's and make more money. So, but the way I used to handle this, I'm pretty good at estimating the amount of time something will take me because I've been doing it for so long. And I'm pretty good at generally guessing how many revisions someone's going to ask me for when they hire me to do a job. So I feel like I can peg it within a certain range with some padding in place for the unforeseen and some consideration over what you might pay somebody else to do the job, along with some consideration for the quality that you're going to get for those lowball prices. And I'll either come up with a flat fee or some sort of tiered structure, small, medium, and large. And then I'll let you know for each of those tiers what you're going to get for the budget. And I'll just kind of feel out what a person's budget is, and I'll try to target, well, here's what I can do for that budget, here's what I'll do for a little bit more, and then here's, if you want the full shebang, here's what it'll cost and here's what you'll get. But on the flip side, if I know that this client's going to be someone who can't make up their mind, or if the project's going to go off the rails, or there's no defined scope, and sometimes these things happen, and sometimes there really is no way to estimate how long something's going to take, because it's either new territory or it's just there's too many unknown factors. At that point, I'll just quote an hourly rate and I'll stick with it. So if I work an hour, I get paid for an hour. If I get 4 phone calls in a day that are 20 minutes each, I'll bill you for an hour and a half. And so I've had some large clients that were fine with the hourly rate approach, because they knew they were in uncharted waters and they were fine with whatever it was going to cost. But a lot of smaller businesses, for understandable reasons, they want to know what something's going to cost up front. But then they get angry when you hold them to the agreements that you came up with, and they expect you to, I cannot spend 80 hours on revisions and changing designs over and over again when the original budget was for 60 hours worth of work. So, that covers in detail why I should not get punished for being good at applying for several jobs quickly, when someone else can walk in the door at social services and hand in a sheet showing that they applied for 4 jobs last week and each job application took 5 hours. That person gets treated the same as me. If I put in 15 hours and apply to 45 jobs, they're going to threaten to take my free money away. But if another person comes in, shows that they applied for 4 jobs and each job took 5 hours to apply to, they're fine. They'll sign off on that sheet and it's no big deal. So the next time I apply for 16 jobs and it takes an hour, well, it's going to take me at least 6 hours at least. So because that's the corner that they backed me into, and I'm not going to get punished for being efficient and doing things quicker than other people can do them. Not gonna. So let's see, your daily support of my channel is helping me more than you can imagine. The number of daily views and watch hours keeps going up. And, we hit that 1,000 subscriber milestone. And, thank you guys. I'm appreciating it. I appreciate everything that you've done to do this. Man, I can't even wrap my head around what's going on with this YouTube channel, because I never thought I'd be sitting here right now talking to you guys still after all these days, because I thought this was just going to be something that 20 people watched and that was the end of it. But I think I'm done I'm probably not done, but I'm getting sick and tired of responding to the comments from the people that just call me a lazy piece of trash and just go get a job at McDonald's, or just go get a factory or a construction job. Or I've had dozens of people over the last few weeks telling me to just go donate plasma. And I think, to all the people who keep telling me to go donate plasma, how about I just stop by your house and become a sperm donor instead? I'll drop it off with your wife and she'll know what to do with it. I've applied to over 200 jobs, 250 jobs at this point. Everything from Taco Bell and Target and department and retail stores and restaurant kitchens and burger joints and office jobs and factory jobs and printing companies and IT jobs and web design jobs and even senior user experience design positions at software companies that are an exact match to my resume. I've applied to all of it. So go ahead, keep showing up to leave your ignorant comments, but you all act as if you could just walk in any open door and walk out with a job, and the world just doesn't work that way. But I've experienced this before, even before I got arrested. I experienced this when I was fired from a crooked software company for going to the hospital for the birth of my son. And it was during the aftermath of the 2008-2009 stock market crash, when nobody could get a job because the economy was a train wreck. And it took me 7 months of hard work to find another job then. And that was without a criminal record. But so many people who didn't, there were some people that I knew whose lives were just hunky-dory and they never experienced any problems at all during that time. Everything just smooth sailing. And, some of these people did work at the companies that were too big to fail. So, we were all paying our tax money so that they would get their bonuses and keep their jobs. But a lot of these people just kept giving me crap every day. And I just tuned them out. Because I know plenty of people whose businesses folded during that time. In fact, I was running my own business in 2008 when the crash took place. And at the time that the crash took place, I was busier than I had ever been since the day I started that business. And then all of a sudden, I went from being the busiest I had ever been since the day I started the business to going 4 months without getting a single job and without getting a single check in the mail. So 70% of my clients at the time, they went out of business because the banks dropped their lines of credit and they couldn't pay their bills anymore. At the same time, their customers could no longer afford to be customers. It was a mess. And how many people lost their businesses in 2020 when the government tried forcing everybody to stay at home? Did you run around telling those people to shut up and go work at McDonald's? But it's just this idiotic blue-collar mentality. You think that just because you were never able to climb the social ladder above some miserable, crappy job where you get treated like garbage and barely make enough money to pay the lot rent at your trailer park, that everybody else should go and live like you do. With that mentality, you're never going to rise above that situation. I'm sitting here showing you that I don't live like that, even though I'm homeless. Right now, I'm in the running for 3 software jobs that each would come with a 6-figure salary. I mean, how many of you people who are telling me to go get a job at McDonald's could even get that far? How many of you could get that interview? So, and if it falls through, fine, I'll take a job making $14 an hour instead if that's what I have to do to survive. I have one of those job interviews coming up this week too, and if I get the job, I'll take it. But if you think I'm just going to sit back and allow that to be my lot in life, well, you're mistaken. And regardless of how much you sit there and crap all over the comments section and think that that's going to do something to bring me down, the only thing that you people are doing is making me stronger and making this channel more popular. So by all means, keep bringing it. But don't think I'm just going to sit there and keep my mouth shut when you do. I love the fact that you people have no lives and you wait for that notification bell to ring and you're all like Pavlov's dogs so that you can show up and dump all over the comments section on these videos. I can't even get to my own video page after the upload finishes without seeing the comments from the trolls in there. I mean, how are you beating me to my own video page to watch it before I get there after the upload's finished? I don't even know, but I feel like that's pretty crazy. But I've known so many people in my life with that blue collar slave mentality throughout my entire life, and a lot of these people are never going to rise above that. And why? Because they have accepted that is their lot in life and that they have no ambition to do anything better. I had a friend once who I hired to work at a company that I was working for. And this friend of mine could have done a whole lot better than she ever did in her career. She had enough talent. She knew the design software inside and out. She was technically proficient. She had all of those things in place, but she was raised in this household with that blue-collar slave mentality, and they always took a dump on her ideas and told her to stop chasing some stupid dream and just go work an honest day's work for an honest day's pay and all that nonsense. And she was an outcast in her family, but she let that mentality keep her down. She stayed at this rotten company, letting her skills stagnate for too long. And then she ended up taking a job down in Shantyville, West Virginia at some small printing shop making signs for Cooter's Bar and Billy Bob's Squirrel Nut Emporium, making just pretty much minimum wage. And so who do you think made up that whole honest day's pay for an honest day's work nonsense anyway? It was some rich asshole who was getting filthy rich off of your honest day's work while he didn't do jack shit all day. He made that saying up so that you would feel good about being dumped on all day. Barely making enough to pay the cable bill when you go home to sit on your lazy boy watching football and drinking beer all weekend, getting dumber and fat instead of doing something useful with your life. And these blue-collar slaves, you're the ones that typically take a dump over anyone's ideas when they do have ambition to go beyond working some pointless, idiotic job where a robot could replace you like they're doing at McDonald's right now out in California because the minimum wage got so high. I'm not doing very well right now. It's been almost 4 months since I got out of federal prison, and it's been a month and a half less than that since I've had my photo ID to even start looking for a crappy job at a factory or McDonald's or whatever the case may be. So, keep taking a dump in the comments, telling me to go donate plasma and work at McDonald's. But, hold on a second. I'm going to check. I'm going to look in my bag here for a second. Let's see. What do we got? Nope, nothing there. Let's check my pockets for a second. Check my other pocket. Nope, just like I thought. I don't have any fucks to give about those comments. So, I'm just saying these things so that the rest of you can hear some good advice. Don't listen to people like that in your life, because typically those people are always wrong. It's just a message to all of you that if you choose to go after your dreams, people are going to take a dump all over you, and they're going to try to discourage you. And secondly, you're never going to be able to make everybody happy. I mean, think about it in terms of a restaurant. No matter how great the food is, no matter how nice the atmosphere is, how clean it is, how friendly the staff are, somebody's going to leave you a 1-star review on Google Maps. It's going to happen. You can't make everybody happy, and you're not going to get the support you hope for from the people that are closest to you in most cases. May not be every case, but most cases. Have you ever had a really good idea for something and you knew it was a really good idea, and you start sharing it with the people closest to you, and you want to see if people will give you some sort of social proof that you're on the right track, and so you start talking to the people you think are your closest friends and family and allies. A lot of successful people will tell you the story over and over again, and it's one of the more constant themes with successful people I see in this world, and it's common with successful people. In fact, the more successful you become, the more people are going to hate you. But if you ever started sharing your good ideas with the people closest to you, only to have those people, your closest friends, your family, your spouse, people in your inner circle, take a dump all over your ideas. My parents, mostly my stepfather, constantly told me that I was making a mistake going to art school and pursuing a career in art, because according to him, I would just be struggling my whole life and I'd never make any money. And then I ended up making more money than him. So, just keep telling me I did the wrong thing. Just keep telling me that. I know they don't call them starving artists without a good reason, but not every artist out there is starving. A lot of them are doing quite well for themselves, eating filet mignon and lobster with enough left over for lunch the next day. They're not starving. But I always get these blue-collar slave comments from people in my family, my mother. Anytime I'd end up unemployed in an unstable career, you make good money doing what I do for a living, but the jobs aren't stable. You're not going to find a job where you can stay at a company for 25 years, get your gold watch, and retire and all that. Those days are in the past. That doesn't happen anymore. And so anytime I would be going through a hard time, I'd get these comments, well, just stop being lazy and go get a job at McDonald's and just accept it, because that's, your lot in life. And I would just turn around and go get a job making more money than the job I just lost, and, shove it back in their face. How many of you have had a good idea to start a business, but the people closest to you try to make you feel foolish, or they say that your idea is stupid, or they try to convince you that you're going to fail? How many of you have a spouse that took a dump all over your dreams because she would rather see you bring in a steady paycheck from your middle-class job than take a risk of becoming rich, because there's also a chance that you could fail and end up filing for bankruptcy? You know, at some point, you're just going to have to tell everybody to go fuck themselves and go after your dreams. At some point, that's what you're going to have to do. And, you know, one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever make, and this, I can't say that this goes for everybody, but this is pretty common. One of the biggest mistakes you'll ever make is relying on your family and friends for support. Because in most cases, in a lot of cases, your friends and family will be the ones trying to bring you down. They'll try to talk you out of your dreams. You know, this isn't me talking. This is what a lot of successful people will tell you if you're trying to do something better with your life that comes with an element of risk. And the reasons for it, the reasons for it can vary. Sometimes these people really do care about you and they don't want to see you fail. Sometimes they care about themselves and they don't want to see you fail because of how it will affect them. Sometimes they are expressing jealousy at the possibility of your success because it will make them feel stupid for all the things that they wanted to do but were too afraid to try. You know, this is very common. So let's talk about an example. Let's say you want to open up a restaurant in your town. Are you going to rely on your friends and family to be your customers? No. Why? Because they're all going to show up expecting to get free food and drinks. And then when you go out of business as a result, they're all going to show up and tell you, well, I told you that wasn't going to work. So when I started posting photography back in the day on social media, I had hundreds of friends on Facebook. And could a brother get a single like? No. I made it a point never to friend somebody on Facebook specifically who was not an actual friend. These were people I knew in real life and were friends or at least good acquaintances with. And on the rare occasion that a friend or two would repost a photo or a few people would like an image, all of a sudden the Facebook algorithm would pick up and multiply that. And all of a sudden I'd get hundreds of likes, maybe a couple thousand likes on a photograph. But getting my so-called friends to hit a thumbs up button on an image, and these are people I'm friends with that I talk to regularly that I know, it was like trying to get all my Facebook friends to buy those ugly Lululemon yellow and orange camouflage cheesecloth sweatpants that everybody was trying to sell to their family back in the day, or those weight loss wraps, or some other pyramid scheme that people tried hawking to their family and friends on Facebook. They treated my photography the same way. And that was my mistake. You know, I thought to myself, I've got all these friends on social media, and if I just start posting there, they'll support me and I can branch out from there. And crickets. Nothing happened. Nothing at all. I could not get friends and family to hit a thumbs up button on a photograph, let alone get anybody to buy one. So I started reaching out to complete strangers and putting my work out there like I'm doing on this channel, and boom, things start taking off. So, you know, I don't really tell anybody I know about this YouTube channel. Some people are finding it anyway, and that's cool. But I know I won't be making any photo sales to the people I actually know. It's just like the restaurant idea. They want everything for free if they know me. So if you have a big network of friends and family on social media, they're the last people to look for when you want support for your ideas. Believe me. It's just something I've known for a very long time. And I even went through a period where I began sharing my photography where I tried sharing it with them and they didn't respond at all, like I just said. You know, in fact, I had several friends and family telling me I was stupid and living in a pipe dream for even attempting to do this, and that I shouldn't be wasting my time with it. But there are several photographers in Pittsburgh alone who are making multiple six-figure incomes from selling fine art photography the same way I'm trying to do it. And all it took them was time to build a following of strangers. One guy I follow, he has about 600,000 followers on Facebook right now. And so he's making good money from his photo sales, just from that alone. And I guarantee you those people put up with a lot of crap from their friends and family until they started showing signs of success. But once you're successful, now everybody wants to be your friend all of a sudden, and everybody wants to be by your side, and everybody wants to come to the party. I guarantee you, if I start showing signs of success, people that turned their back on me when I was down and out, they're all going to start popping up in the email and the phone log saying, hey, remember me? We used to be cool back in the day. Let's hang out sometime, and all this other stuff. All the people that turned their back on me when I went to prison, guess what? They're all going to come back, and they're going to be like, hey, can we come to the party? Can I get a piece of that? No, you can't. But anyway, like I said, if you meet someone who's highly successful at anything, like running a business or doing anything that took a lot of courage and risk to build, ask them how supportive the people closest to them were, and ask them how many people they had to shrug off or not listen to when, or change who they surrounded themselves with. A large number of those people will tell you they became successful more because they ignored the naysayers and not because of the people closest to them. Remember this video when I'm back on top of my game, and remember all the trolls in the comment section. I don't know when, but God has some sort of plan for me, and it doesn't involve working in some meaningless bottom-of-the-barrel job for the rest of my life, because I just have to accept that I'm a piece of garbage criminal who doesn't deserve anything better. I mean, if that's the way I'm going to live my life, and if that's the mentality I'm going to have, then that's what I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And if you think I'm an idiot for knowing that I'm going to be successful doing things that the blue-collar slaves think are ridiculous, I've got some things I want you to consider. Number one, people paid a guy $55,000 on Kickstarter for a potato salad, okay? With my first job as a teenager working at Burger King, I was convinced that working in the food service industry was for losers, but let me tell you, I was wrong. I mean, I've heard of people paying $6,000 for a cheeseburger in Las Vegas, but that pales in comparison to what the backers of a Kickstarter campaign forked over for a potato salad back in 2014. $50,000 for a potato salad. I mean, who pays 8 times more for the side dish than the entree? Number one. And the best part was the guy didn't have to feed any of his customers. He ate the potato salad after they paid him to make it. So when people tell me that I'm going to end up becoming another starving artist for chasing a dream, I just have to keep in mind that people were willing to pay a guy $50,000 to eat a potato salad that he made for himself, okay? And aside from that, people will hand you millions of dollars for beer. I had a friend, and he worked at the inner city beer distributor in Pittsburgh. And at night, the homeless people would take positions over a 3-block radius with their plastic cups, their chicken buckets, their cardboard signs, and their sob stories about trying to raise enough to catch a bus. For any passerby who would take the bait. And then the minute these bums earned enough money for a $5 case of swill, they would line up and start banging against the metal gate stretched across the doorway that was meant to keep them out. And all those sob stories about catching a bus, I think what they meant to tell the people were, I'm just trying to catch a buzz. Because I'd occasionally stop by and visit my friends and hang out to watch the chaos at night. And they were so ridiculous that when my friends opened the gate to let me out of the store, I'd be surrounded by the same bums and their sob stories about trying to catch the bus before my friends could even close the gate behind me. And I'm like, stop. Just back the bus up right now, homie, because I just handed you a case of Beast Ice through the slot in the gate and you don't have any money left over for the bus? Get out of here. If they were honest about their intentions, they could have raised $3 million. They're just going to need a bigger chicken bucket to hold it in. There was this poor college frat boy, and he needed a supply of cheap swill. So he held up a sign with his Venmo username, and it said, Bush Light Supply needs replenished. And it was all that it took to convince people to hand over $3 million to his cause. He held the sign up during a nationally televised college game day broadcast on ESPN, and the guy's phone blew up, and he made $400 in the first half hour. And I always say that only two things that most Americans care about are beer and football. And this is just proof. And blending the two together like this, it was pure marketing genius. Because in full disclosure, I'll have to say that the majority of the money came through after the kid announced he'd be donating all the proceeds to charity after buying a single case of beer for himself. So Anheuser-Busch knows that you can't buy this much good PR if you have the budget for a dozen Super Bowl commercials, and they told this guy to pass that last case of beer money over to Children's Hospital, and in exchange, Bush would send him a year's supply of beer, complete with his face and name on the cans. I'm not sure if Bush is aware of the difference between a year's supply of beer for a house full of college frat boys versus an average household. But I would be really careful throwing any big parties if there's going to be hundreds of beer cans laying around with my face and name printed on them. That's all I'm saying. But people conclude that I'm going to, stay homeless trying to pursue a life of travel and adventure and trying to do something better than working some minimum wage job. And, if you throw money into my chicken bucket right now, well, I'm going to go and buy iced coffee instead of a case of beer. And that chicken bucket is located at donate.litgood.com. At least get one plug in there today. But I don't drink crummy beer. Therefore, I don't think if I held up a sign during a college football game that said, please replenish my supply of delirium tremens, that it would have the same kind of pull. So even though people are fine with handing over beer money to strangers, I'm not, I'm not doing it. So, let's see. So really, if you want to throw money into my chicken bucket, you're going to be helping me out, but I would rather you buy a nice piece of art to hang on your wall by going to shop.litgood.com. And, you can check out some of the fine art there that's for sale. But, this isn't the only way to make money. My parents used to tell me that I would never accomplish anything if I kept playing video games all day. And, yeah, spending my 9 to 5 sitting in a recliner playing Call of Duty, making 6 figures per month, yeah, that would totally suck. So I have to thank my mom for steering me away from that, because right now I'm raising my kids differently. I taught my first child to do good in school, go to college, work hard, be on time, study, do your homework, do the right thing, and all that kind of nonsense. And now she's got a master's degree, and she might even go on to get a doctorate someday. But with my second child, I said, you know what, to hell with school. You just need to get good at playing video games and learn how to use YouTube. So hopefully one of these tactics will result in at least one child who can buy daddy a house someday. Because that's the rite of passage for anyone's kids who've made it big in this world, right? So, maybe my first child makes a lot of money with her fancy college degree, but have you seen how much these kids are being paid to play video games? There are examples of video game players making $3,000 to $10,000 a month, and some are raking in millions. In fact, in the United States right now, they recognize esports players as professional athletes. The U.S. Customs Department is not allowing video gamers from foreign countries to live here. The U.S. Customs Department is now allowing video gamers from foreign countries to live here on professional athlete visas. And it won't be long before we have another Lance Armstrong on our hands. After winning the Super Mario Brothers World Championship 7 years in a row, we'll find out that the guy leveled up with a speedball mixed with Adderall, Ritalin, and of course, those magic mushrooms. But who could blame the kid? There's big money at stake. There's a kid named Lee Young-ho, a professional gamer from South Korea, and during his 7 years hustling the streets, this Young-ho, who goes by the street name Flash, thought he was the big pimp in town, earning almost $500,000 hustling StarCraft tournaments. And then in a flash, a secretive Chinese national named Shen Zhao showed up on the scene, walking away with over $1.1 million in 5 years. And I'm proud to say, though, the American stick jockeys are performing much better. Take this guy, Griffin Spakowski, for example, a New York teenager making over $200,000 a year from playing video games. This 14-year-old kid generates the equivalent income of a heart surgeon by spending 18 hours a day playing Fortnite. The kid has 1.2 million people watching him play a video game on YouTube. I mean, when I was a kid, we'd get pissed when someone wouldn't pass the controller, but now here we are in an era where 1.2 million people are fine with watching a kid play a video game on YouTube. But not to be outdone by some 14-year-old kid. A 16-year-old kid named Kyle Giersdorf, he won $3 million by taking the top prize in a Fortnite tournament. And Kyle wasn't the only kid bringing home enough money to buy his parents a new house that day. Over 100 kids battled for $30 million in prize money. But fun as it may be to watch the little kids playing Little League, Fortnite isn't a kid's sport. At 28 years old, veteran gamer Tyler Ninja Belvins is crushing these little brats, and he's banking over $500,000 a month playing the same game. So yeah, in a fortnight or two, these kids will have to look over their shoulders for this 13-year-old who's named Kyle Jackson, the youngest Fortnite player to become a professional gamer. Unfortunately for Kyle, his climb up the leaderboard is currently hampered by his 9 p.m. bedtime when the parental controls kick in. You know, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, I'm for real. Don't you make your gamer cry, let him play 1 trillion times. There's no limit to these kids' potential. Does it make sense to restrict your child from a career that pays $6 million a year to focus on his public education, where graduates earn an average yearly income of around $50,000 a year? I mean, this kid could make that much every 3 days playing video games. So, according to this trend, long-term dividends increase exponentially the sooner you monetize your children. When I was a kid, we weren't allowed to play video games before cleaning our bedrooms. But these days, it makes sense to scold your child for cleaning their room if they haven't completed level 33 on Assassin's Creed yet. Get back into your room until you level up, mister. Don't you go folding your laundry or cleaning that room either. I expect to hear a bunch of blips and bloops coming from that door. Do you understand, little Johnny? Locking your kid in a bedroom might be a great way to start putting money in the bank, but the parents of 8-year-old Ryan Kaji took this to a whole new level. This kid was making $26 million a year to play with toys. That's right. Ryan's parents were the masterminds behind the YouTube channel Ryan's World. And at one point, he was the highest earner on YouTube, making $26 million a year for playing with toys. That's right, kids. An 8-year-old boy was making $26 million to play with toys. And I'm sitting here thinking, Mom, what the fuck, Mom? Why didn't you sign me up for this when I was a kid? I could have retired at age 12 and enjoyed my teenage years. And I'm never going to get those years of my life back. You know, I guess Mom wasn't interested in the houses, the cars, the private jet, and the koala bear farm in Australia. You know, she could have exploited the kids with enough funds left over to keep us from growing up to be a shopping mall security guard like Gary Coleman. You know, I mean, what the hell, Mom? I played with toys for free all the time. We carried out Operation Desert Storm with G.I. Joe in the sandbox, and we flew the Millennium Falcon through the uprights of the staircase, and we even set the back of Michael Jackson doll's hair on fire after that Pepsi commercial. But, you know, in the end, I really can't hold a grudge because I think Mom was just trying to protect the kids. You know, back then we didn't have YouTube, so the closest us kids could get to $26 million for playing with toys would be spending a weekend at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. And the more I think about it, you know, I guess I'm glad Mom didn't sign me up. So a lot of you tell me that I'm grumpy. A lot of you are making comments and troll comments about, you know, about how I'm so grumpy, and you get on my case for being negative. And then you all turn around and celebrate an angry cat by handing it millions of dollars. So I'm supposed to be happy and grateful for everything I have in life when there's a grumpy cat who made more money in the year that most of us will make in a lifetime? You trying to tell me that I can't make a good living if I'm angry all the time? But a cat gets paid millions of dollars for the same thing? So, you know, I'm sorry, but I refuse to end up living out my golden years working as a broke-ass Walmart greeter where I can only afford to eat cat food, especially when there's a fucking cat out there living in a mansion eating filet mignon every day for lunch. Maybe I'm just grumpy this morning because I haven't had my morning grumpy cat grumppuccino yet. But, this is a serious wake-up call. The day I realized that even a cat could make millions of dollars, that's proof that I'm not stupid for chasing my dreams. And any of you can do it if you just put in the time to make it happen, period. So don't listen to the haters, but believe me, what are the haters going to do? The haters are going to hate. That's what they do. So just look down at the comments under this video and you're going to see what I'm talking about. The more successful you become, the more people are going to hate you. And I think that I'm running out of time here, and this is a long video, so I think that's where I'm going to end it today. It's time for me to go do what I got to do and get that money in the bank, get this change out of my bag so that this bag doesn't weigh 40 pounds anymore. And then I'm going to head off to the library and sit in front of the Wi-Fi and, do my thing. And so with that, I'm just going to let you all go. I hope you all, let's see how we're doing on the time here as I switch to the other app. Yeah, we're looking at about an hour worth of time. So I think this will be a good spot to leave it today. And hopefully you guys got something good out of this. And once again, I hope you all accomplish what you set out to accomplish today. I hope you all have a good day. And tomorrow we will talk again unless something goes terribly wrong. Peace out.